Well, hello again. For those of you who follow my videos, you know that we're in the throes of repairing a 1931 airline, and we've been waiting for a wire-wound volume control to arrive. It has not arrived yet, and today is the 6th of July. Hopefully it'll be here, it'll be Wednesday, the 6th of July. I hope it will arrive either Thursday or at the latest Saturday. It has made it to the United States. Last count, it was in New York City somewhere. Anyway, I thought while we're waiting, we might as well do something. And one of the things I already did was try to, work on my T3 signal tracer, and we got that baby to work thanks to Mr. Carlson's lab. So now I have a radio. It's a Silvertone 8005. Now that's not the model number. It's the catalog number, and it's from around 1948. It's just a standard All-American 5 type radio, AC/DC set. And my grandson, our oldest grandson, he found this on eBay. He bid on it, he got it, and he sent it to me. He sent me 2 radios. So while we're waiting for the airline volume control to arrive, I thought I'd go ahead and try working on this. Now, if you look this up online, it says that it is Bakelite. It's not. It's modern plastics. And right here you can see that it's pre-1949. Catalog number 8005. A lot of the old Silvertone radios did not have model numbers. They had catalog numbers, and this happens to be one of them. Okay. And I think what we'll do now, by the way, in order to open this thing up, we're going to have to take the knobs off. First thing you do, is eyeball it, of course. I'm going to take these knobs off. They just pull off. And this is kind of a unique type of thing for me. Anyway, the radio comes out from the bottom. I guess you take out these 4 screws after you remove the knobs, and the whole thing shifts back enough to where you can pull out the entire chassis or just lift the plastic top off. And I guess I'll have to be real careful taking it out. The plastic all looks pretty good. It's not in bad shape. It's painted. It was originally brown. It's painted. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sand this baby down. We're going to repaint it and bring it back to its original glory. Now normally I don't sand the radio, but this one's going to need a little light sanding before I prime it and paint it. You can see it's had a lot of use. You can see there where the paint's worn off around the this is the on-off switch and volume, and over here is the tuner, and it actually works. The string's good. Silvertone, sold by Sears Roebucks. Okay, let's take a look at the schematic. All right, as you can see, here's the power plug. It comes straight into the rectifier, and then from there it goes out to all your little filaments. And these are your tubes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. AC/DC set. First thing we're going to do after I take it out and eyeball it, make sure there's nothing unsafe, is we're going to go ahead and change out these 2 electrolytic capacitors, or what they say in England, the smoothing capacitors, which I happen to like that term much better. One's a 50 microfarad, the other's a 30, and they're both rated at 160 volts per this paperwork. So I'll tell you what, why don't we just go ahead and tear this thing apart and take a look at the inside. Oh, one other thing, it came with the cord cut off. And I don't think it was actually cut off. I think it was taped together. For some reason the cord went bad. Somebody just kind of taped it together and it broke off because they didn't do a very good job. I went ahead and cut that old taped end off. And that's what we have now, a little stub there. So let's go ahead and look at the inside of this puppy. It's kind of a neat little radio, actually. Broadcast band only. On the bottom of the radio is the label, and there you can see it right there, catalog number 8005, and of course it lists the chassis number. These 4 screws, I originally thought removed it from the cabinet. That was incorrect. It's these 4 corner screws. Okay, now how do I know that? Well, because it says so right here. If I'd have read that, I'd have known that. But anyway, we'll go ahead and take these out. In order to get to the bottom of the chassis, these 4 screws will have to be removed. But now what I have to do is flip it over, and then just lift the cabinet. Incidentally, one of the legs here, these are just those push-in pins. They actually spin around. They have a little felt wheel that's held in by those split pins is what they are, split rivets, those kinds of things. So we're missing the felt off of this one, and there was 3 altogether, 2, and there's the 3rd one over there. So alright, let's take it out of the cabinet. Well, there it is. Check the inside of this cabinet. Let me move this thing here out of the way. This cabinet is very clean on the inside, and as you can see, it was originally brown and painted blue. So that's very clean. I'm kind of surprised about that. And it looks like getting this speaker grill off is not going to be too much of trouble either. I think that's metal, and I definitely want to get that painted silver, make it look real good. Let's take a look at the top of the chassis. Not too dusty, not too dirty. Not bad. Should clean up. Should clean up fairly well. Not too shabby. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that plate on the bottom and take a look at underneath. The bottom is off, and they had a little kind of a cardboard deal that went around this way, I believe it was. Yeah, it went on there first. And then, of course, on the inside of the metal lid is the schematic. Well, that's kind of neat, you know. We usually don't see them in that good a shape. A little bit difficult to read, but we don't need it. We have our own. And it has a parts list, which is also kind of neat. But the best part about this thing is it has never been molested, never been touched. This is all original. We have 7 wax capacitors in here, which includes that green one down in there. And of course our 2 electrolytics that are in there, this being one, this being the other. And then of course they're both connected to the rear back here with a single line. And let me see, what did I do? I had a couple of capacitors just a second ago. Yeah, these are the caps I'll be replacing him with, 150. Let me see, I've got a 40, this is a 33 for the 30 and a 47 for the 50. It'll work fine. This is the choke that's on the schematic, and the audio output transformer, I don't know if that's it right there. I think that's it. Let me find out. Let's find out together what that stupid thing is right there. It might be the audio output transformer. We shall find out. That would be according to this, that would be T3. T3, that's exactly what it is right there. So over here is L3, the choke, coming off of this these 2 electrolytics, and right here's your audio output transformer. So all we have to do is like ohm out a couple of these coils before we change any capacitors. Remember, I highly recommend you check your coils first. In a radio like this, it probably wouldn't be too much trouble to find, you know, an audio output transformer that small or a choke. But in some radios, you may not be able to find it. It may be one of those unobtainiums. So if you go through and change all the capacitors and everything, then all of a sudden find out the audio output transformer or whatever it may be, could be one of the IF coils or something, maybe it's bad and you can't get another one. So you've wasted all that time, effort, and money putting new caps in, and you can't even fix the radio, you know, unless you get very, very lucky and find another one for parts, and the part happens to be good. So that's what we're going to do, is, you know, play around with this thing, try to get it going. As you can see, the power cord right here was whacked off and sticking out there. I don't know. If it's good, I'll be putting those caps in, but nothing quite yet until I take the ohm meter to it, which is the next step. Well, the choke ohms out good, and so does the audio output transformer, primary and secondary. So I think what we're going to do, I discovered this speaker has a tiny little hole. See it right there? I'm going to take, before I go any further, I'm going to take a little bit of liquid tape and put over there and plug that hole up, because if you don't do that and you turn the speaker on, if the radio ultimately plays, that little cone will begin to rip right from that point right there. So I put enough on there to make sure that's going to stay in one piece. Now I have to ohm out the IF coils, primary and secondary on each. And if those are good, it's time to start repairing this radio, or refurbishing it anyway. A little hint for the new folks out there that might just be starting the hobby. When you take your screws out, no matter what it is, try to get them back in the same holes they came from so you don't lose them. You will lose these things. If they hit the floor, you'll never see them again. Now those and the 4 screws that held the plate on the bottom of the chassis, and you want to get those in there also. Anything like that that you can mount back in for safekeeping, that's what you do. You just kind of screw them in by hand. You don't have to jack them down with a screwdriver or anything. Just get them down in there far enough to where they won't fall out. Because I'm telling you, I have sat at a workbench, never left, and all of a sudden 3 parts are missing. I sat there for a couple hours and then 3 parts disappeared. And I'm like, how did that happen? I haven't left the seat. And you know, it was kind of interesting. The last video I put up was about that T3 signal tracer, the Heathkit signal tracer, and part of it covered the video from Mr. Carlson's lab, Paul Carlson. And in his video, he says that it was kind of comical, and it was also refreshing to hear him say that. But he said on his bench, things seem to disappear. They go down a black hole or something. You know, I understand that completely. And it's just so frustrating. You know, it's here one minute and gone the next. You can't find it. There's been times I didn't find it for like 20 minutes, and then there were times I didn't find it at all. And to this day, I don't know where it's at, and I never left the desk, never left the bench. It's the strangest thing. So I appreciate you saying that, Paul. That's pretty cool.